Welcome to Midsummer Scream. Two of the most famous haunt events in the world take place on opposite sides of the U.S., but are bound by three letters: HHN. While both events share multiple IPs from year to year, they are both unique in their own right, earning them undying coast-to-coast love and admiration from their fans. And just as unique as each event is, so are the visionary creatives behind their production. One of them has come from the heart of Central Florida, and the other has crossed the ocean from his home in Ireland to be with you here this afternoon. Please welcome to the stage Universal's own Titans of Terror, creative director and executive producer of Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, John Murdy, and senior director of entertainment and creative development at Universal Orlando Resort, Michael Aiello. Midsummer Scream, welcome John Murdy and Michael Aiello.
John! That's his name! What's your name? This thing going. Halloween Horror Nights 2025. Let's hear it. West Coast and East Coast. How many of you guys, show of hands, how many of you guys are going to make the trip to both coasts this year? Right on. All right. I'm John Murdy. I'm creative director, executive producer of Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood.
I am Michael Aiello, Senior Director of Creative Development for Universal Orlando Resort.
Oh, you know what? Before we do anything, just go with me. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We love our jobs. Thank you.
No, seriously, I started doing this as a 10-year-old kid in my parents' garage, and to get to do this for all of you guys every year for the last 20 years, that's just something I couldn't have imagined when I was a kid. So thank you so much for all your support over the years, supporting Horror Nights on both coasts.
100%. And thank you. I'm so excited to be here on the West Coast with you all. I loved walking the floor, seeing all the sights here. This is an amazing convention. Absolutely amazing. I think last time I was here was 2019?
Yeah, it's been a few.
Yeah. So I am thrilled to be with you all today, and thank you for welcoming me.
Okay.
What's this mean? What is this?
Oh, this is how this goes. Yeah. You know how this goes, right? By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. Damn. You got anything?
Nope.
Or hold that thought. Okay? We'll get to that. Earlier, we solicited questions on X for our fans to ask Mike and I. But before we get to that, we're going to answer a lot of your questions today. We got some surprises in store for you. But we thought it might be cool to let you guys be the first people to see the HHN 2025 commercial spot. Would you guys like to check that out? Okay, let me see if I can do this correctly. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. It's going well.
You guys did anything?
To watch at Universal Halloween Horror Nights.
You guys liking the lineup for 2025? I think this is our best lineup since 2016, honestly. And we can't wait for you guys to experience it in well, for you, sooner, right?
Very soon, very soon.
What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be here at all.
When do you guys open, seriously, Mike?
The 29th is officially the opening night in Orlando.
And September 4th for us. So, we're going to start this off. We wanted to answer some of the fans' questions that they put on X. So it's Q&A time. Let's start. Oh wait, this appears to be an Orlando person, Mike. So I'm going to have you read this one.
Yes. Okay. How long is your process for selecting which IP franchises you two, your collective teams, choose for the event? What goes into the process? Well, it's how much time do we have? Honestly, like the IP franchise process isn't just John and I. It is a massive team of people. We work with not only our insights team to kind of study what people are enjoying out there in horror pop culture. We look to our marketing teams to help inform us of what's out there and available. We have an amazing team that, along with John and I, approaching certain studios and individuals to seek out if they're interested in working with us. We also have IPs that come to us.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So we actually start that process in like March. So like March of this year, Mike and I and a bunch of us would sit down in a room and start thinking about, okay, what do we want to do for HHN 2026? And we'll be doing a whole lot of that this week.
That's also why I'm here.
Don't follow us. All right, next question. How much do fans have impact on making creative choices for Halloween Horror Nights every year, like acquiring specific IPs for the year? This is from SoCal Tall Guy.
Oh, I didn't shout out the last one.
You guys know SoCal Tall Boy? Right. And I would answer that question with Exhibit A. Seriously, like, ever since the first Terrifier film came out, we've been keeping an eye on this franchise. And I don't know for you, Mike, but for me, like, I judge it by the t-shirts that people wear to like events like Midsummer Scream, but also, of course, Halloween Horror Nights. And I noticed after the first Terrifier came out, I was like, oh, cool, what's that? You know, I was checking out people wearing Art the Clown t-shirts. And then when the second movie came out, there's a lot more of you. And then last Halloween, I was like, oh yeah, this is the time. And the same thing's true of Five Nights at Freddy's. For years, our fans have been asking for this franchise. So honestly, this is for you guys. I mean, we sat down this year and we went, number one, Terrifier, check. Let's go talk to Damien Leone and Phil Falcone. Number two, Five Nights at Freddy, check. You know, we really curated the slate with our fans top of mind, no question.
Yeah, and an ID like Five Nights, we knew if we were going to say yes to this, we had to do it right. If you're going to see those characters, they have to look identical to how you see them in the film and in the franchise. So the only group we could have worked with was the Jim Henson Creature Shop. They created everything.
Yeah, you know, you guys remember a couple of years ago, we did Blumhouse Behind the Screams, and we did that prop display. That was the moment that, for me, was the light bulb moment, was walking in there when we had those creatures on display and going, first of all going, damn, that's like 8 foot tall. And then going, oh, if we ever do this, we gotta have Jim Henson's Creature Shop do it. So we've been working with them for like over a year, right, Mike? We've been on this for a long time. And last week in Hollywood, they started loading in, coming into the house. So we can't wait for you guys to check out Five Nights at Freddy's. All right, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. Do you struggle to bridge the gap between pleasing old school classical horror fans and younger game-friendly fans when choosing this year's HHN houses? And that's from Blue Fire Dr. 44.
I just have one question at this juncture. Was Blue Flyer Dr. 3043 taken?
Are they here? Well, then we'll never know.
Okay. Exhibit B. Yeah, that's something we intentionally, when we're building the slate, we're looking at that specific thing. We always want to have properties that appeal to the hardcore horror fan that loves slasher movies. That's why Jason Universe is a perfect fit for us. But we've started getting into video games. Way back in the day, Silent Hill in Hollywood. You guys did Resident Evil, right?
Resident Evil, yes.
And then a couple years ago, we joined forces on The Last of Us.
Sure did.
And so this year, we wanted to bring Fallout to life. Are you guys excited about that? I was just in there last week with the creators of the show, and it's still like we're just getting into props and dressing. That's going to start rolling through this week. But just to step into the vault, are you guys excited to step into the vault? It's amazing. It's scenically, it's some of the craziest stuff we've ever had to do, but it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, well, and it checks all the boxes that we need for what we feel will be a great haunted house. It has diversity environments. You've got the fallout shelters. You've got the wasteland. Diversity in characters. We just installed the T60s into the house just this week. And I said T60s.
Ours are in the mail. Ours are coming. We're waiting.
But again, it checks all of those boxes. And honestly, like being able to work with Amazon for the first time, we've never really partnered with them before. So we've got a new company that we can collaborate with, which is really exciting.
All right, next question. Has any of Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights icons ever been to Universal Studio Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights? And this is from Sergio Torres, AR7. Time for a short history lesson.
Take out your notepads, everyone. Here we go.
It's a tradition. We might as well get into this. Yeah, the answer is yes. Way back, the first year I did Horror Nights in Hollywood, 2006, we featured the director. Anybody here that saw that event in 2006? Oh wow. Okay, I'll tell you a quick little funny story. So we wanted to film some stuff with the director, kind of like viral, it was before viral videos really in 2006. We wanted to shoot something from the tram POV, so I put a camera crew on the tram, and I got a good friend of mine who was the lead singer in a band at the time called the Graveyard Farmers, and I said, hey, just over by kind of like the Bates Motel, this kind of wilderness area, the back lot, I'm like, hey, just when the tram goes by, just come walking out of the woods, dragging a body. But I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. Don't recommend that. And we also featured Jack the Clown. He was the icon in 2007.
Bit of trivia, by the way, on the director. His name changed when he came to Hollywood.
It did.
It did. He was Paulo in Orlando, and he was Pavel. In Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then he was Billy in Singapore, I think.
Yeah.
So he's apparently an anonymous individual who just goes around the world changing his names. He's got.
Well, if you did what he did, you have to change your name. You would want the authorities after you.
Right.
Oh, okay. Will Hollywood Harry get more lore, and one day meet Orlando's icon, Jack the Clown. And this is from Egyptian Horror 9.
No one heard that. He said, bring chance.
Now, it's time for a slightly longer history lesson. More lore. How much lore do you want? Okay, well, let's really quickly go through the lore for Hollywood Harry, okay?
I'm interested.
Okay, well, this is how he came to be. He started at Universal hosting a kids' TV show called Koodle's Carnival. His real name is Harold Kapowitz, and that was in 1958. As, this is the proof right here. And then in 1964, he got asked, that was the year we started the studio tour, and that was kind of the beginning of Universal Studios Hollywood as a theme park, and he became the mascot for the Universal City Studios tour. And there you can see him out there on Lancashire in front of the Universal sign, and there he is on the tram. And then in 1973, the studio canceled his television show.
I love that they actually got a photo of him reacting to that.
Yeah. And they replaced him with two different icons. They replaced him with Frankenstein Jr. in 1973 and a gorilla holding a camera.
Fair trade.
I didn't make this up. This is real. This is really I was a little kid. I first came to Universal in 1972 with my family, and Frankenstein Jr. was the icon of Universal Studios Hollywood and a gorilla holding a camera.
I see new icon.
Think of the possibilities. And so he just kind of hung around the front main gate of the park, kind of like those people that hang out in front of Grandma's Chinese Theater, trying to charge people for autographs. And this went on through the 70s and into the early 90s. But then he started getting all sketchy. And eventually security asked him to leave the property in 1993. But he didn't leave. He just went up into the hills that surround the Universal backlot, and he's been living there ever since. In 1998, people started noticing him on the studio tour and started taking pictures of him just wandering around the backlot next to the Psycho House. And, at that time, the internet started coming alive, and they started filming all these videos of Harry sightings, and they gave him this name. They gave him the name Hollywood Harry, and he was born in 2016. He hasn't been back for a while. Should he come back? Should Jack the Clown come back? We'll file that away. All right, Mike, you take this question.
All right, how did you and me format the storyline for the Wyatt Six Haunted House attractions to both Orlando and Hollywood to be all in Bray Wyatt's mind in terms of his split personality disorder and characters of the Fiend? And was there any creative input from the, in real life, Wyatt Six faction? From @Skywalker Brian? Yes. So I am so excited that we're doing this year. And I know when it was first released, there was a division. It was like, huh? Like, there were a lot of people who were like, what? Wrestling? Are you kidding? And I'm saying, no, I'm not kidding at all. What was that?
She wants me to body slam you.
Oh! You're ruining the end of the panel. He's gonna throw me through 6 tables. Now, this relationship really started, I actually knew Bray Wyndham. We exchanged messages. He went to Horror Nights in Orlando all the time. And we exchanged a lot of messages, talked a couple times, and we talked about the possibility of something like this someday. And he had portrayed all these amazing characters. And horror and WWE have been part of their makeup for decades. In fact, Horror Nights in Hollywood.
Yeah, before my time, we featured The Undertaker in a haunted house.
So we talked about this, and then unfortunately for those that are aware, Wyndham, he passed away. And it never, obviously didn't happen. And then about a year ago, June, his brother, Taylor, Bo Dallas, also Uncle Howdy, debuted a brand new faction that was inspired by Bray's characters and his storylines. And they kind of rejuvenated the Wyatt name in WWE programming. And they're a horror faction. They're every bit the kind of Rob Zombie textures that you would find in any horror film.
And if I remember correctly, after that debut, you sent me an email.
Yes.
And you're like, check this out.
Yes, yeah. Because that night, one of my good friends, Marty Miller, he's the vice president of live TV for WWE. I literally called him after they made their debut. And they did this amazing single camera push into where the wrestlers come out on TV. And they had basically done this massacre backstage. And it looked like one of our haunted houses. And I called literally that night and said, we need to talk. And we got the ball rolling. And that's when I emailed you.
Yeah. And then Mike brought it to the table. It's kind of the way we work together. Like, sometimes I'll have a hookup or a connection with a filmmaker, and I'll go, hey, what do you think of this? And in this case, Mike was super connected to WWE, so he brought it to us. And for me, I as a kid in the early 1970s, my dad used to take me to the Olympic Auditorium in downtown LA. You know what I'm talking about? I think it's a church now. But that's where wrestling was held. And this was back in the days when, it wasn't what it is today. It was like Freddie Blassie, John Tolis, Man Mountain Mike, Mil Moscaris, Haystack Calhoun. It was that era of wrestling. And my dad would, I think this is right next to Skid Row, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't know why my father took us there, but that was my earliest exposure to wrestling. But I needed to learn a lot. So I literally watched YouTube videos, which I often do, pretty much the entire history of Bray Wyatt's arc in WWE from the Wyatt family all the way through, and then with the Wyatt Six, like watched every single wrestling match, every single promo. And by the time I was done, I had such an appreciation for the genius of Bray Wyatt. And it just felt like this is something we need to do. This guy was so talented. I think if Bray was still with us today, I think he would have ended up making movies, honestly.
100%.
I think that's where he would have taken it. But what he created is so layered. The story, it goes so many levels deep. Even when you get into the costumes, which they've gotten into in great detail, every stitch means something. It's incredible, the universe that he, spawned and what his brother is carrying on today. So we're incredibly honored to be doing this. And I always like to think of when we're, building a slate for Horror Nights, there's the things that are kind of obvious, that are kind of what I would call the meat and potatoes of horror. But then there's these other things, I call them brand expanders. And you've seen us take these chances over the years where we go, okay, let's take this and bring it into the world of Halloween Horror Nights and turn it into a live experience for you. Are you guys psyched to see this? So, and I think we always try to align on kind of like the main beats, what the story is we're trying to tell. But we sometimes have different scenes and different approaches into our houses. Honestly, I think that's super cool. I've always thought that's cool. I love that people can go to Orlando and see one house and then come to Hollywood and maybe see something slightly different. I think it's cool to have those differences park to park. So for Hollywood, for me, this is the facade, by the way. All you people who've been trying to film this. It's not easy. I feel for you. I do. You guys are riding the studio tour and you're trying to get that picture, and all you could see was the roof. And people were like, it's Creature of the Black Lagoon. It's, and I'm like tweeting them back, no, it's Gilligan's Island. But for me, I wanted to think about it like, if I was going to make a horror movie out of the Wyatt Six, how would I go about that? And I thought about the Wyatt compound, which was featured kind of more prominently in the Wyatt family days. And I thought, like, I want that to be the entrance into our experience. And in a lot of ways, this is like an original haunted house. And it was so cool when we met with Rob Fee from WWE, when you and I and our team, we did this big brainstorming session with him. What I loved that Rob kept saying is like, you guys are the experts, you guys are the experts. He really welcomed our own creativity into the process. So we tried to approach it as if we were making a horror movie out of the Wyatt 6 characters. The beginning is going to be the Wyatt compound. It's kind of the bookends of our experience, but I'll point out just two things. You see that side profile shot elevation? You see the rocking chair? Yeah. And you see the lantern. And of course, that's Bray. That's Bray's iconic elements. The lantern is a through line through the whole house. You're going to be kind of following the light of the lantern as you go from scene to scene to scene. So I'm giving you this warning now, right? So you're ready for it. Because it's not always in the same place, but try to find the lantern in every scene you go in, because pretty much almost every scene, the lantern shows up. And the other thing is the rocking chair. When you come out, it's going to be rocking by itself with the lantern on it. The fireflies, we're going to do all that special effects lighting, so the fireflies are dancing around. And as you go through, you're going to keep encountering that rocking chair. And I don't want to say too much about this one, honestly, because I like the fact that I think it's going to be a big surprise for all of you, okay? And then I'm going to let Mike talk about his.
Yeah, I'll be brief. We're recreating the Wyatt 6 debut in Orlando. That is our opening. You're going to be the camera, and you're going to walk that space. You're going to see the Massacre at Gorilla Station, and then we're taking you through. Ramon Paradoa, also a massive WWE fan, was our show director for this experience. We've created what we're calling Production Central corridor, where you're going to be surrounded with WWE imagery all around you, media. And then the Wyatts take that over, almost like if it's a vortex leading you into the minds of the Wyatt 6. And then from there, I'll stop, because I want you all to experience it.
Yeah, I do, I know a lot of times as fans, you guys are like, you need to know everything, and I always think about, like, were you the kids at Christmas that just, like, found where your parents hid all the presents, and you opened them all up, saw what you're gonna get, and then wrapped them back up again? I did that one Christmas. I found my parents where they hid the presents, and I was so bummed that Christmas when it came to Christmas morning. So I think something should be a surprise, so you'll be surprised.
Yeah, but that is an interior shot of the house. That is not WWE, that's us.
It looks cool.
Oh, yeah,
there's this too.
And again, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, Taylor, he has been so gracious with us and so supportive. He actually, we wrote and created brand new content for the house. And Uncle Howdy has new content specifically for this experience that we shot.
Yeah, and we're going to feature that in the queue line when you're waiting in the queue line for us as well. All right. How do you write a house treatment? Is there any technique that you use while writing all houses? And this is from HHN House Hunter. Cute. This is from our original house. This is from Monstros 3. I always try to explain it to you guys. I'm just going to throw up 2 pages just to give you an idea. Part of it is a technical breakdown, scene by scene. So on the one side you see talent, hand props, scenic, graphics, props and decor, static figures, audio, video, lighting, special effects, etc. And what I'm trying to capture is every single element that is needed to go into this particular scene, and this is the facade for Monstros Trace. And on the other side, it's a narrative. It's written from the guest's POV, as if I was you walking into the house. It's everything I see, I hear, etc. So it's really a combination of those two things. My treatments tend to average about 100 pages per house. So, like, by the time we're done with Horror Nights, I will have written the equivalent of War and Peace every year.
And for Orlando, the content's the same. Sorry, I redacted a ton of stuff on this page. Sorry.
Oh, I had a joke, but I can't say it. Go ahead.
This is actually for the foyer of our El Artista Spanish haunting house. And it gave away a lot of stuff, so I didn't want to give it away. But the format's there. We break down every single discipline so that when everybody's seeing these treatments, they can understand exactly what's going on in that space. And then over there on the other side, that is also what we include in our treatments, which is a model of every single room where we can place all the performers, we can identify where effects are. So again, anyone that's reading that treatment, whether they went through the meeting where we took everyone through it, or if they're just handed that treatment and they did not get the support of the meeting, they can read that and understand every single inch of the space that we're designing.
With the increased collaboration, has having your teams work closely together changed any part of how y'all approach house scare zone treatment? And this is from Hopping Hogsmeade.
The y'all probably is from the East Coast, I bet. This is probably on the East Coast.
I have a slight suspicion of that. Yeah, we've always worked together. Whenever we share an IP, we work very closely together. We're in meetings every Monday without fail. We're East Coast, West Coast meetings. But this year, I think we took that collaboration to a new level, and that's particular to Five Nights at Freddy's. Sometimes we have houses where it's a little different, East Coast to West Coast. This house is pretty darn close to the same experience coast to coast.
About 99.9%.
Yeah, and it's really just the physical spaces that make it different. But we kind of divided and conquered on this house. We would literally divvy up the various disciplines, whether it was design, scenic, audio, video, etc. And we said, okay, you guys got this, we got that. And it's the first time we've ever done this, but we really collaborated in a much more intense way across the board in that particular house.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think we learned a lot about each other's process,
Yeah.
even more than we had just kind of working in meetings together. Our teams were working closely on design, which really hadn't happened before.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome process. We learned so much about each other's teams, and I think it really brought everybody really close together too.
Yeah, it's we can't wait for you guys to see this house. This is something that we've, I honestly, like 5 years ago, if you would have said the same thing, hey, why don't you have done Five Nights at Freddy's before? I probably would have said it's impossible. But it was really that moment of being in the lobby when we did Blumhouse Behind the Screams and going, of course, Henson, that's how we have to do it. That made this possible. All right. Can you share a moment that you had with the fans where you both knew you had created something special through your work on Halloween Horror Nights? From Movie Howler.
Honestly, this may be cliche because it's every year. I mean, here's the reality. John and I are up here talking to you all, but we represent a massive team of people that are working together to bring this thing to life every year and to make it different every single year in as many ways as possible. The moments that we've had with fans is really the thank yous to the team. Again, we're walking the event. Sometimes we'll walk in the event after it opens, and we'll be together. We'll be a group of our team, kind of assessing the event, and people just coming up to us and saying thanks. We realize how much this event means to you, because it means just as much to us. Because that's the other reality is, like, I was this character. Most of our team grew up in the event, and we're now helping to create the event, and that means so much to us. To be able to do that, to bring you something that you can escape to every single year. Because I think that's really what this event is about, is we all want to escape to some place that is that warm blanket. And for many of us, all of us in this room at this convention, horror is that warm blanket.
I think this is the thing that constantly amazes us, is that, the horror community, I think it's the coolest fan community there is, And it's not just like that it's cool, but it's the most supportive, it's the most inclusive, it's just, like all of us collectively, we found our place, And so when we think of our event as creating that place for you guys, that once a year, you get this time of year where you get to be with all your friends and all the people, that you love in this community. You get to experience it together. Just one thing I'll say about this particular question, like over 10 years ago, and this happens to me all the time, I had like a dad walk up to me and he's like, hey, my son's really into like your event. He's kind of obsessed with it. And I thought it was like a fad and it would pass, but he wants to do this when he grows up. I don't know what to tell him. Can you give him some advice? And I did, and I've stayed in touch with that family all these years. And this year, that same kid, who was a little kid who came to Horror Nights, just finished his first internship for us, working on Horror Nights. So it's kind of amazing to see all of that come full circle. So. And there's so many stories like that. All right. For both of you, your time at Horror Nights has given you a front row view to the crazy growth and popularity of Halloween and horror-focused events. Creatively, where do you see the industry and Horror Nights specifically going in the future? From a lonely omen space. No?
Sure, why not?
Space station is just sitting there. I mean, it should have a haunt on it, don't you think? I don't know, where do you see this going?
I think it's actually happening already. I mean, we just soft opened Horror Unleashed in Vegas. If you just asked any one of us 10 years ago if there would be a 365 home for horror with Universal's name on it, I would have said no way. And there it is in Vegas. And that's really cool. That's really cool. And it's a whole different experience. It's a whole different thing than what Horror Nights is. And that was important about that Vegas experience. Is it gives you a taste, it gives you a flavor, but we also want it to be unique, just like we want our Horror Nights events to be unique. That's very important for that application.
And, you know, on the East Coast, Epic, you know, now has an entire Universal Monsters Land. I don't know. I think that Horror Nights had something to do with that. I really do.
I would think so.
You know, I think that what we've collectively, all our teams on both coasts created, you're starting to see it now come to life outside the event. And I think that's amazing and really, really cool. All right. Who is your favorite cryptid? Megatron G13. Time for a short natural science lesson. A cryptid is an animal such as a Sasquatch or a Loch Ness monster that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist, and that's from Webster's Dictionary. You know, I grew up in the 70s, so mine is, you know, Sasquatch because of the $6 Million Man. And, you know, we tore down the ice tunnel years ago to build the Fast and the Furious attraction, but he's still out there.
And ours are Yetis. We love Yetis in Orlando. We love them. We've done 2 haunted houses based on Yetis. We love them. I've never been scared more in my life than in our Yeti houses because they're crazy. Those characters are nuts in there. I love them.